Oh man, Halloween 2. Let's do this.
I shot him 6 times. I shot him
Oh shit.
hard. The man, he's not human.
Universal Pictures presents Halloween 2. More of the night he came home.
More.
More.
She looks like somebody.
She looks like a babe.
Trouble with the phones.
There is no place to hide. He will always find you.
The weirdest editing choices. What the hell?
This editing's so bad. This is like making me not want to watch the movie.
Why would they use the same trick as the last one for the trailer? That makes no sense.
It's
Right?
stupid. It doesn't make sense at all.
Because it's like, well, in the first one, if she got back inside, what makes you think that this time she wouldn't go back inside?
Love hurts. Love scars. Love wounds.
Enough of this Michael Myers bullshit!
Halloween 2 is nowhere near as good or scary as its predecessor. First of all, the score in this movie has changed drastically from the original. It sounds like this weird techno piece, and I absolutely hate it. This movie also started to implement jump scares in the series, and unlike the previous film, which only had one bad jump scare, every jump scare in this movie is dumb. For example, look at this. Where does Michael come from? Was he just chilling on the ground? How could someone get off the ground straight up like that? Is it because evil has no form? Whatever.
Halloween 2 is another film that I look upon with rose-tinted glasses, but seeing it this time for the first time in about a decade, it's a tad silly. Jamie Lee Curtis is barely in it, with not a lot to do. The pacing of the film flows like molasses, and this isn't a film like Blade Runner 2049 or A Ghost Story that benefit from it. It's a sequel to Halloween. Michael does more or less the same thing he does in the first movie, where he just meanders around and does stuff that only the audience knows about. Like, why does he appear just to disappear if no one sees it? Who is this for? Why do we follow Michael for so much of this movie? I don't want to empathize or understand Michael, I want to be terrified. He should be the reason I have trouble sleeping at night instead of thinking about the time I laughed so hard I farted in class 10 years ago. Wait, what?
Unlike the previous movie, we completely see Michael the entire time. His presence is not scary anymore. He just feels like, meh. He is humanized and brought down to our level with the whole Laurie is Michael's sister thing. I dislike it a lot. Michael Myers was an interesting character because he didn't have a real method to his madness. By giving him this element of wanting to kill his sibling, it makes us as an audience understand him. And it was better when we didn't understand what, how, and why he was the way he was.
I'm even a little sour on the Luke, I am your father twist in this movie. Although in a way it makes sense, that's not what attracted Michael to Laurie in the first place. She appeared at his doorstep and he followed her. He wouldn't even know what Laurie looks like to be like, oh, that's my sister. This is supported by Halloween 4 when Michael breaks into Jamie's house to find a picture of her because he has no idea what she looks like. Anyway, the reason I called it the Luke, I am your father twist because that's exactly how it felt this time around. I look at the date this film came out and I realized it was the year after Empire Strikes Back came out, and it feels like they were trying to capture the same thing. Anyway, the movie feels more contrived than the first. It's kind of obvious in the first film he's waiting for the nighttime to strike because he's wearing a Halloween costume, but in this movie it's already nighttime. As soon as Michael enters the hospital and kills the guard, I'm confused as to why he didn't just make a beeline straight to Laurie because no one in the building serves as any threat to him. Instead, we get a lot of contrived nonsense like the hot tub scene. On the music side of things, Alan Howarth? Howarth? You know what? We're just gonna call him Alan. From this film and throughout the rest of his tenure on the franchise, he adds synths and so many unnecessary layers to the score that he sort of lost the point of what made the score great in the first place, which is simplicity. And not a lot of elements from the original score have too many trendy instruments in them, so I don't know why Alan decided to do this. Maybe it's because he doesn't have an original voice, maybe, but I mean, I don't know. Who am I to judge? What am I, a critic or something? Oh yeah, and in this movie, it also says that he's 23 in the credits, but Loomis again states that he's 21. Ugh! This has got to be my least favorite continuity error in a film ever.
The kills in this movie, however, were pretty cool, the hot tub scene being a real standout. I just don't understand why Michael needed to go and kill all the people in the hospital before he got to Laurie.
One thing that I will say that I do enjoy is the lighting in this film. Not the way it's used, but the actual texture of the lights themselves. It feels really specific, retro, and tactile, and I really do enjoy that a lot. And I'm giving Halloween 2 a 4 out of 10.
The movie is concluded with a really cool shot of Michael's mask burning, with the Mr. Sandman music, and that's cool, I guess. But overall, this movie is dumb. I never did really like watching it because it is so boring. I'm gonna give this movie a 4 out of 10.